Hello, in this video we're going to show you how to raise a purchase invoice in Kashflow so that you can keep track of who you owe money to and when things become due for payment. So if we scroll over to the left and go to this section here, you'll see that the supply is there and purchase underneath. Purchases on Kashflow means purchase invoices, receipts, that kind of thing. So if we click on purchases, it will take us through to the screen that's got all our previous purchases on there that we've managed to upload and get ready in Kashflow. What we want to do is actually create one. So if we move our cursor up to the top of the screen and click on Create Purchase, then that will take us to what I hope by now is a familiar screen that, the fields on here, Kashflow likes to keep things very simple, very consistent, rather than baffling you with many different screens and you guys getting lost a little bit. So if we just work through the fields now, just explain what they mean. So number is the number that we attach to the purchase invoice. So you may have a system where you put 2019/1/21 to say that this is a 2019 invoice in January and it's the 21st invoice that we've put on. Kashflow likes to just keep things simple and just does it in numerical order. So it's just added one onto the next or the last number that we used. So 18 is fine for us in this example. Then it wants you to choose the supplier. So in this instance, I'm going to say we've just received a purchase invoice from BT. So click on those. And then it asks for a supplier reference. So this is their invoice number. So it might be something like SA0001 Q001. Okay, and then move on to the next field, which is the date of that invoice. So the invoice may have just come in, and it's the date, the 1st of Jan 2019. And what that does then is it defaults to, depending on how you set up Kashflow, it might be that you've said BT allows 28 days for payment, or BT allows us 1 day for payment. In this instance, it's defaulted to 1, so it said this is due by tomorrow, the next day kind of thing. So we'll leave that as is because it's allowing us to keep track of who we owe money to and when we owe it. And that's pretty much it for entering the supplier. Now what we just need to do is drop in the thing that we bought from them. And we do this by clicking on Add Line Item. So purchase code. Typical is defaulting to materials. I haven't been in the settings to say that when we buy things from British Telecom it goes to telephone, so I'm going to have to tell it in this instance. So click on the drop down menu, type telephone and enter. So this cost is now going to get allocated to the telephone nominal. And what we want to do is just say call it phone bill for December 18. And then we write in the net amount that's on the invoice. So shall we say the invoice was for £100, and the default, again, I've not set up British Telecom, so we can tell it that every invoice from them already has 20% on it, and that would have brought up 20% by default, but it's just not set up at the minute. So from that information, it now knows that there's £20 worth of VAT on this invoice, which makes a total invoice of £120. And all we have to do there is click Save. And once that's saved, that invoice will then go into all the systems. So make sure that the VAT goes on the VAT return. It will make sure that the cost goes into your profit and loss account, and make sure that there's something allocated to telephone. And also it's building up the debt in Kashflow to say you owe £120 to BT, don't forget to pay it. And that's really all there is to raising a purchase invoice on Kashflow. If you've got any receipts, any direct debits, those can all be raised in this way. Alternatively, you could just choose to post the bank payment to the P&L if you decided to do that. You don't have to raise a purchase invoice for absolutely everything. But this is how you sort of keep a purchase ledger going in Kashflow. Thanks for watching.